And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. This is going to be a quick video, but I figured I'd go ahead and do a video on this while I got a second. A couple of people were asking and said, hey, you were praising Anthony Edwards so much, and now they're down 2-0. You haven't made a video about it. So here's the video. So first of all, let me say this. I still have high hopes for Anthony Edwards. But like I've said in several videos, I think the MJ and Kobe comparisons are definitely too much too soon. But more importantly than that, I can't remember which video it was. I can't remember if I was just making a point in a different video or if it was in one of my last videos about Anthony Edwards. But I said that Anthony Edwards, I believe he is a competitor. But Michael Jordan and Kobe, and I will put Larry Bird in this classification as well, they are dominators. And again, to me, it's a difference. I think Anthony Edwards is a competitor. I think he competes hard, but again, when I think about Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Kobe, first of all, I think about arguably three of the most confident basketball players that we've seen. And I mean true confidence, with Jordan being number one. To me, Jordan is the most confident basketball player that I have seen. And what I mean by that is I honestly believe that from the beginning, Jordan does not think anyone is on his level, can compete with him on a one-on-one basis, just as a singular basketball player. I truly believe Michael Jordan does not believe anyone is on his level. I think Kobe had that confidence, but I think Kobe's confidence came more from a cocky place. And again, I think cockiness bears some insecurity about it. And I think Kobe Bryant, again, I think Kobe, just like everyone else who came after Michael Jordan, at least for part of his journey, was trying to be Michael Jordan. And again, like we all know, Kobe kind of came into his own, but I believe his journey started off that way. Larry Bird, another player. You know, you hear the stories about Larry saying, oh, I'm going to catch the ball right here, turn and shoot it, and you can't do anything about it, and he does it. Well, Larry Bird had that ultimate confidence. I don't believe that kind of confidence exists in today's game at all. I believe we're seeing players who are cocky, you know, have that false confidence. But I don't believe we have any players that truly believe that that literally no one on the face of the earth can stop them. I don't believe we actually have that in this game. And so, yeah, I believe Anthony Edwards competes hard. Now, I will say one of the things that I don't know if it rubbed me the wrong way or not, and I don't know how to take it yet, because I think kind of time will tell. But he made the comment about, you know, he was just tired or something like that. And again, to me, that's the difference in mentality. That's the difference between being a competitor and being a dominator like Kobe, MJ, and Larry Bird. To me, MJ, a big thing that comes down to it with MJ is this. First of all, you could say MJ won more with less, arguably, than anybody else in history. Because a lot of those early teams that won, when we're talking about back in Bill's, Russell's day, but even, you know, when you're talking about the Celtics and the Lakers rivalry, those teams were pretty stacked. And, you know, they happened through natural means. It's not like they Magic and Kareem didn't conspire together to end up on the same team. You know, these were decisions, either drafts that made these teams, or, you know, legitimate trades made by the owners or, you know, general management from the team. So it's not the same thing as LeBron James choosing to go play with D. Wade at all. But, like I said, it does. Michael Jordan, you know, to me, again, he went 6-0 with just one other All-Star. That means a lot. And for those of us who watch Michael Jordan's career, what really drew Michael Jordan in, besides his style of play, that was, pleasing to watch, but what really drew people into Michael Jordan is his will. This guy was just unbreakable. I mean, if you watch those Pistons games where, he's getting thrown to the floor in a way that could injure you, in the very next play, he's driving to the hole. Like, this guy was a competitive maniac. Like, he could not be broken. And this is what we saw throughout Jordan's career that I think all of us wanted to be like. We wanted to have that unbreakable, unshakable will in life. For those of us who play basketball on the basketball court, but in life, like what the things that Michael Jordan does on the court works in life too, if you have that unbreakable spirit. Something else that I haven't noticed with Anthony Edwards, when you're trying to compare him to Jordan and Kobe and the greats, I'm gonna keep saying Jordan, Kobe, and Bird, because I think these three pretty closely had a very similar mentality. But another thing I hadn't seen from Anthony Edwards is that if I have to do it all by myself, I'm gonna do it. If I have to do it all by myself, I'm gonna do it. Like, I think it's great. I think he does a lot of great things. But sometimes when I watch him play, it looks like he's too caught up into the team concept, so to speak. And at some points, it's just like, okay, this is not working. I'm going to get it done. But then he hasn't really played well either. And then this is something else. I don't know if we've seen back-to-back games of Michael Jordan not playing well. I don't know if we've seen that. But again, in the case of Michael Jordan, Kobe, Larry Bird, like, to me, these players had that attitude that, okay, if all else fails, I'll get it done myself. And I haven't seen that coming from Anthony Edwards yet. But again, I'm saying all this to say, I still have high hopes for Anthony Edwards. I think that if they lose, which is looking like they're going to lose, but who knows, because these playoffs have been full of very unexpected things happening. And I think a lot has to do with still the style of play in the NBA today that makes it so unpredictable. When your play is based on the most unpredictable shot or the least consistent shot, even though players today are shooting the three better, it's still the least consistent shot as opposed to, being in the mid-range or being close to the basket. So when your style of play is based off of that, there's a lot of unpredictability versus, basically who's knocking down the three and who's not. So, it's like we saw Minnesota last series take the first two games from Denver in their home, and everybody thought, including myself, this is about to be a sweep, and it winds up going Game 7. Where here we are again, where the Mavs takes the first two games from Minnesota, and I'm seeing all the commentary about it's about to be a sweep, and it feels like that. I mean, especially with the way Kyrie and Luka are playing. But, and I'll say the Dallas Mavericks as a whole, but again, who knows what's going to happen. But I will say this. If Minnesota loses, to me, what's really going to be a testament to the character of Anthony Edwards and the character of Minnesota is how they come back next year. Does Anthony Edwards come back looking even better next year? Will next year, even if they win, but especially if they lose, will we see a noticeable difference in the level that Anthony Edwards is playing with from the very beginning? From the very beginning. And then, and this is kind of why we talk about these things. This is why, like, Jordan is the standard. Because again, it's like, you know, it is known today in the modern day NBA that players don't take the regular season as serious, and you know, practices aren't as hardcore as they used to be. But Michael Jordan understood how you practice is how you play. Michael Jordan understood that every game in the regular season is a chance to make a statement. Matter of fact, I was just watching something. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I think it was the Luke Longley documentary where Michael Jordan was talking about this game that Luke Longley had. And I think it was, I think this was in 98. So it was a regular season game in 98. The Bulls had beat the Jazz the year before. But in this particular season in 98, the Jazz had won the first regular season game. And so they were about to play the second regular season game, which I believe they only played each other twice in the season. And Michael Jordan is talking to Luke Longley. He was like, I think, according to Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen was out with injury or something. And he was telling Luke Longley, look, we need to make a statement this game. Like, we lost the last game to Utah, this regular season, mind you. But we need to make a statement this game. So this just shows you how Michael Jordan thinks. But anyway, the story goes, he talks about how Luke Longley had a really good first quarter, and he complimented Luke Longley. He was like, yeah, that's how you play. You do that and we dominate. And he said Luke Longley didn't score for the rest of the game, basically. And I guess and they wound up losing the game. And which is why a lot of people thought that the Jazz were going to beat Chicago in 98, because they lost both the regular season games. But apparently after they lost that game, Jordan told Luke Longley, like, I'm never complimenting you again during the game. I complimented you and you took your foot off the gas, basically. But yeah, to me, this just shows how Michael Jordan's mindset, even in the regular season, is like, these are statement games. Like, every chance you play is a chance to dominate your opponent, is a chance to send a message to your opponent that, hey, you cannot defeat me. It's a chance to put doubt and fear in your opponent's mind. And so, yeah, to me, we're going to see, you know, if and when Minnesota loses, how Minnesota and how Anthony Edwards comes back next year. That's really going to tell a lot. It's really going to tell a lot. And I feel like it's going to tell during the regular season. Like, if Anthony Edwards really wants to be compared or have a chance to have the same respect of a Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, which I don't think he has that high of a ceiling. But for this generation, you know, again, for this generation, if he has a chance to do that, to me, it's really going to be evident in the regular season. This is where you start, you know, setting your mark in the regular season. So anyway, you know, that's my whole take on the two losses from Minnesota, is that I still have high hopes for Anthony Edwards. I don't think this changes the way I see him as far as having high hopes for him. But again, like I've said this, and I will continue to say it. Like, the comparison to Jordan and Kobe, I think that's going too far. Again, I think he's a competitor. He's not a dominator. And I think we've seen this. I want to say in these last two games, but to be honest, to me, we saw this even the last series against Denver. You know, he's a competitor, not a dominator. Like, that is a different level of competitiveness. The dominator attitude, and again, you know, we'll wrap up the video, but I do want to make this point. You know, I do remember when this horrible, terrible All-Star game, that was the worst All-Star game in the history of the NBA, happened this past, you know, whatever it was. I can't remember when the All-Star game was now. But when it happened, Anthony Edwards said something to the fact that, you know, I think guys just see this as a break. And again, you know, that's another difference, because if you look at the All-Star game, which was Michael Jordan's last All-Star game, and I was just watching something on this as well. Go back and watch it. And basically what you will notice is when Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant was in the game at the same time, the level of competition increased. And when they were sitting out, the level of competition decreased. It was just that simple. Because when they were on the court, you better compete. They were setting the tone, both of those guys. So again, for Anthony Edwards, is like, whether anybody else in the All-Star game wants to compete or not, Anthony Edwards, if you're going to be that guy, you have to set the tone. You have to be the competitor at all times. And again, this kind of goes back to the whole LeBron James activate playoff mode thing. There is no such thing as activating playoff mode. You're either in playoff mode all the time or you're not. And the last thing I'm gonna say this is, you're only as strong as your weakest link. It's like you're only as good as your worst day. So you want to raise the ceiling on your worst day. You want to make it so that your worst game is somebody else's best game, so to speak. But anyway, we're going to hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about Anthony Edwards? What do you think about the two losses, them being down 0-2 against the Dallas Mavericks? Do you think, or I should say, has this changed your opinion of Anthony Edwards? It hadn't changed mine. But like I said, to me, what's really going to determine that is how they come back next year. If he comes back noticeably better, that you can tell he's really been putting in that work in the offseason, then I feel like, okay, we're on to something. And if they lose and he comes back pretty much looking like the same Anthony Edwards, just a year older, then there we go. Everybody will have our answer. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.